When people ask me what places they should hit up in New Orleans, I always tell them Stein's. New Orleans is world-renowned for its unique cuisine. Stein's is not that. It's a Jewish-Italian deli inspired by those in the Northeast, though with its own strong personality. That personality flows from owner Dan Stein. Stein's has a reputation for a certain amount of gruffness. Everyone who goes there knows or quickly learns that you better know what you're ordering before you step up to the counter, and you better not order anything stupid, or you risk being the recipient of some very acerbic remarks. But it's all part of the charm. As much as he's known for his no-nonsense grind, he's also known to be a big softy and a pillar of the community. New Orleans could be a small town, and it often feels that half of it knows him personally. I first started going to Stein's during the pandemic when I lived around the corner. I quickly fell in love with it for the sandwiches. They have all the staples with high-quality ingredients, Italian hoagies, Reubens, cheesesteaks on Tuesdays, and a lot more. My standard order now is the Rachel, which is a Reuben with pastrami, along with the spring salad and full sour pickles. A perfect lunch. It never, ever gets old. Dan had a lot of press last year. First he was on Queer Eye, and later he was the victim of a carjacking. On this episode of Bon Tom Club, I get to ask him about both of those things, and a lot more. We're also joined by his friend and collaborator Dan Fox, the editor-in-chief of Anti-Grav magazine, New Orleans' free alternative news monthly. This is Bon Tom Club at Stein's Market and Deli. Cheers.
Hi.
Thank you all for being on the show.
Cheers. Salud.
Appreciate it. This is Bon Tom Club. It's the 7th episode. Here we are at Stein's Deli in New Orleans. Thank you all both for being on the show.
You're very welcome.
Thanks
for having us.
This is Dan Stein and Dan Fox.
Yes.
Dan Fox, you're from Anti-Grav.
Yes.
You've been running the paper for as long as it's been around?
Well, not exactly, but I've been with the paper for, we're about to celebrate our 20-year anniversary in June, and I've been with it more or less for that time.
Okay.
But I've been the publisher since 2016.
No kidding. Okay, that's awesome.
Yep.
I was saying before we started recording, I lived right down the street during the pandemic. I would come in here all the time, or not in here because it wasn't, you couldn't walk in for the longest time, but I would always grab those, read them cover to cover. I'm happy to have you on. Thanks for coming on.
And if you came during the pandemic, chances are I was the COVID czar keeping everyone out of the deli.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
He was one of the food runners.
Oh, okay. I've probably seen you before then.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Highly
Nice.
likely. So apologies if I was ever short with you during that time.
Yeah. In a mass.
Did y'all ever apologize for being short with people around here?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, do you?
Oh, yeah, sure. And I apologize for other people doing it too, all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Because people kind of see it as part of the aesthetic here. And I was wondering how much of...
Maybe my definition of short is probably different from other people's definition.
Yeah.
But when I overstep the lines, I apologize.
What do you see as overstepping? Do you ever snap at people?
I've snapped at people.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? 17 years, no sleep? Yeah, I've snapped at people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have had it coming a little bit.
Yeah.
It's never out of the blue.
Yeah.
But
there's a couple times where I've been like, that was uncalled for on my part or something like that. But there are some times where I'm like, really? I'm like, can you look around you and see there's like a bunch of people in line and you just like, give me the order and let's go.
Right. I mean, people come here and I think they expect, brusqueness, right? Do people, people ever has anybody ever taken that so badly that they caused a scene in here?
I don't know if they've ever really caused a scene.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I remember, so one of the issues that I have sometimes is some of my staff sometimes mirrors the way that I treat the customers, and I'm better at it than they are. And
that's true.
And they'll do it, and a lot of times it doesn't end well. And so, there will be scenes that are caused and stuff like that. I remember Andre once. There was a couple times where Andre got yelled at for being saucy, and Andre just not the saucy guy. He was being a little saucy, and I was like, and all of a sudden, I'm like, where's that screaming coming from? And I'm like, what's going on over here, and stuff like that. So Yeah. And then one time we did an ad
that it's instead of The Shining, it's The Whining, and it was a collection of Yelp reviews that were not flattering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
well,
what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
That was it. And yeah, and the old Instagram, which was Jez, used to take. Yeah. Yeah, that's another.
I saw that there was an old Instagram. I didn't even realize that.
You
until
didn't?
the
Did you
other
read
day.
it?
Yeah, I read some of it. Yeah,
I mean, those are
it's
great.
way out there. Yeah,
that's like that was. So that wasn't me. A lot of people thought that was me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, that wasn't me. That
He's
was
a different personality.
It was Jez Luckett. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was great. I mean, with it's like I was telling Dan, who kind of plays with most of my Instagram now, because Jez kind of stepped away from it. I was telling Dan, I'm like, Jez really was like aware of the medium and just like the attention and what he could do with it. It was like, and then I think you drew a parallel to like Norm Macdonald. Like he was kind of
He drew a lot more fire. He overstepped a few times.
Yeah, a couple times he did, but I mean.
Like just like what? Like
I don't
want to
get it. No, I don't want to. It's like there was a. No, I don't want to recap.
Okay.
There was a couple that he, but it's the stuff he did far outweighed the overstepping. Oh, I mean, some of those.
Yeah.
So all of his Yelp reviews were like great, and then and there was a time with the selfie stick with the. Did you ever see that one?
No.
That's the one that I'm thinking of.
That one. You thought that was an overstep?
Well,
my
there was a lot of
God, that was awesome.
there was a lot of people who didn't like it or something. It was
No, he got in a fight with Chris next door over it because,
What
because he was
happened?
gloating about it. Oh, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I might have to clip this into the episode.
It was something
What?
like "Go fuck yourself" with a selfie stick
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something,
no,
but he had a
yeah, it's
picture
like-
of the people hanging out outside, like the,
Yeah, but he had a picture of our picnic benches and a woman with a selfie stick outside here. It's
no, that's
and then underneath it says, "Happy National Donut Day. Every District Donut customer who comes and sits at our picnic tables, gets a complimentary selfie stick to fuck themselves with." And
Right.
Yeah, it's
it got like
provocative.
1,000 likes, and this was back when like
Oh,
1,000
wow.
likes was like
Yeah.
was like 1,000,000 likes. That was like that was
So
like
District Donuts didn't like that.
Chris and I we have a very good relationship. I think
Sure,
Chris
yeah.
came in and he was actually not like he was a little upset at it, but he wasn't like. And I was like, I kind of told him, I was like, listen, if it had been my customer, I don't care.
Yeah.
He had the shot. He had to take it. You have to. I mean, there was there, and he did it. The problem was Jez started gloating about it to Chris, and then Chris felt obligated to stick up for his customer and stuff like that. But
So y'all are good at putting yourself out there, like with personality too, right? Like, and that's a conscious choice on your part.
I don't know if it's a conscious choice.
Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, I just try to be kind of myself, and
Uh-huh.
then if they want to make fun of me, I'm like,
it's just
All right,
a bottomless
that's fine.
well of creativity.
Yeah.
There's certainly
a lot of material.
not much active energy put into it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm-
It looks
I'm
like y'all are having fun.
Making fun of me, I'm like everybody's muse, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, I wanted to ask who comes up with the ads. So just always great ads in Antigrav.
Fox comes up with a lot of them.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's sort of a team of people. And my wife Adrian does a lot of the photography when we need to like recreate
Okay, I followed her on
like
Instagram
something.
recently.
She's like, we've had some crazy studio portrait sessions.
Yeah.
Like there was the candy bikini, the infamous
Yeah, I'm pretty
candy
sure I've
bikini
seen that.
shoot.
Yeah.
A lot of half naked stuff.
I was probably more than half naked for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
Sorry.
That candy bikini.
Sorry,
was-
Adrian.
Yeah. What about me? Sorry, me. I was the one up close having
Well,
to
me, my
detail it.
my pubic hair kept on getting stuck in the fucking strings. Shit, that was painful.
I mean, there's some of these up here. Where's the Calvin Klein one? What happened to that?
The staff decided to take
Oh,
it
yeah.
down. It was making them
We
sick.
did the
Really?
Mark Wahlberg.
People didn't want to look
Rip
at it while
off.
they were eating.
Yeah, we did a cleaning session, and it found its well in the backyard, and then I said, "Why don't you go put it back up there?" And the staff said, "No, let's leave it in the backyard." They think it's gross to see you in your bikini pants.
That's funny. So you were kind of joking about trying to ignore the cameras here, but I think you kind of like being on camera. Do you hate it so much?
I don't. No, I don't. I'd rather I'm actually not really noticing camera here.
Yeah.
Radio, I don't.
They are very small.
Yeah, radio, I don't. Radio, I think is great.
Yeah.
Easier. It's easier. I feel more comfortable. I don't see a lot of camera here. I mean, I guess I am on camera. But
Yeah.
But I'm kind of focusing more on you and focusing more on this.
So, yeah, speaking of camera stuff, I did want to ask you, because you were on Queer Eye.
Yeah.
That was probably like your, what, can we say national debut? Does that make sense?
I don't know. Was it
I mean, I'm
international?
Yeah, right. International.
Yeah,
There's
probably
people
to
in
that
Thailand
degree.
watching Dan Stein.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Queer Eye, though. I mean, do people actually?
I'd never watched an episode before, so this is my first episode.
I still haven't seen it.
He told me that. That's crazy to me.
Well, wait, just to be clear, you may have been on Treme or something, right? Like, didn't something
Oh, were
film
you?
in the deli?
Yeah, that was
Something
right.
like
They
that?
filmed the end of Treme. They filmed like a 2-minute.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I need to watch that. I watched
David
Simon.
Yeah, David Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. I think he came into the deli like a month or two before they were about to wrap up.
No kidding.
And I said, I thought you were going to put the deli on the deli. And he's like, on the show, he's like, oh, fuck. And then next thing I know, like a day later, we get a call. Hey, what are you
Yeah.
guys doing on this date? I'm like, what time? They're like at 4 in the morning. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Wow. No
But
kidding.
but I think they paid my staff to come in at like 5 in the morning, and they filmed just a really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that was
cool.
that was actually, it was different. It was
Yeah.
we were done by 11. They were done by 11. We opened up. I met David Simon a couple times.
That's awesome.
He'd come into the deli. I had no idea who he was. Actually, the first time he came in, he ordered a bagel and lox with jalapeno cream cheese, and I guess I gave him a little. I'm like, are you sure that's what you wanted? He's like, kind of like looked at me like, why does that seem off? And I was like, yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And then somebody told me, that's David Simon, and I'm like, I don't know who David Simon is. Is that a big deal? And stuff like that. And actually, now we actually are friendly. I usually
That's awesome.
Yeah, bump. He comes every year around Mardi Gras. He's walked in Julu, which is
Oh, okay.
local.
I haven't heard of Julie.
Julu. It's
It sounds like Zulu.
It's like it starts at Barrel Proof on Mardi Gras Day around like 12 or 1. It's Ben Ellman from Galactic started it.
Okay.
But it's a lot of service industry people and stuff like that. So it's anyway. 2 years ago he walked in Julu, and I hung out with him a lot then. And then I think I saw him this year. I did see him this year. I can't remember where I saw him, but I saw him somewhere, and we talked about meeting at Jula. But I
that's awesome.
I got way too drunk this year, so I can't remember if he actually showed up.
That sounds right. It's Mardi Gras.
I got too drunk.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy about it.
Fair enough. Did you ever watch The Wire?
I tried.
Uh-huh.
I don't.
It's a slow burn.
It's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. I don't watch a lot of TV, and it's hard for me to stay awake. So
All right, fair enough.
it probably took me. Like, what's the TV series? What's that one on HBO that's now on, that just finished they just finished showing season 3, that the first one was with Woody Harrelson and
True Detective.
Yeah. True Detective, I think it took me like 3 or 4 months to get
Yeah.
through
Fair enough.
all the episodes, because I would literally watch it for 10 minutes and fall asleep,
Uh-huh.
and then watch it
Okay,
for
yeah.
5 minutes and fall asleep, and stuff like that.
I get that.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I don't think anybody really gets how I sleep. It's hard for me to
You
stay
you
awake.
just come and you just conk out like almost
much,
immediately. Yeah.
yes.
I believe that. I mean, you're a hardworking dude.
Yeah.
So, just to get back to the Queer Eye real quick, the main question I had about that, because they do this whole process, did any of that stick?
As far as what?
So they do your house, they do your clothes, they try to do some kind of psychological evaluation.
So, the clothes, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, the house, probably not as in good a shape as they did it, but the cooking, not so much. I mean, yes, I get my hair cut. I mean,
And you look great.
The psychological stuff, I mean, anybody who thinks that you can like fix somebody with a 45-minute session with a therapist in front of an in front of a million people,
right,
and in front of like 3 other people, you know, and a camera crew, that's not going to be very productive. So that wasn't a big deal.
Did you find that to be intrusive?
What?
Just that process.
That therapy
having to talk,
session? Yeah, it pissed me off.
Yeah, that would,
Well, you know, one of those guys
find that to be really
Not
awkward.
really. I mean, I was. In fact, I got a lot out of that therapist session because when I went home, I was so fucking pissed off.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt that session. I was actually felt violated by that session.
Yeah.
And
I can see
was
that.
like, and so then I was like, all right, well, you know, I put myself. So I kind of like had to calm down, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get something out of this. I'm going to calm down and get something out of this. And I actually think I spent like a good 3-4 hours that night, like writing down notes. And I think what I got out of it was actually pretty good. But I mean, I don't think, you know, those therapy sessions are pretty tangential and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The clothes, yeah.
But they did fuck your house up.
They didn't fuck it.
Well, you had a ceiling fan in your bedroom that they took out to put in a light fixture with no ceiling fan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they.
I'd be
I don't
aggravated
think they
by that.
realized that like it's kind of important to have fans. And
I needed to sleep.
Yeah, in
Oh, yeah,
New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah,
Everything they did was to look
it's
good on
crazy.
camera. I mean, I know
Yeah.
something about this because I work in set deck, and everything they brought in was just to look good as long as it needed to for camera. But was it actually good furniture?
So it was like
Not
really,
no.
yeah. So it was another thing that was really funny was I was like, I remember when I came in, I was like, oh, that's cool. Why do you have the bed away from the wall? I was like, I guess it's going to be easier to clean back there. And what I didn't realize was that they took off my, what are those like stanchion lights next to the
Sconce.
Yeah, they took my sconces off and they replaced them with these sconces that were long.
I don't know what a sconce is. I'm sorry.
It's just anything that hangs on the wall.
It's
Oh,
a wall
okay.
light.
That comes off.
Well,
the
the
wall.
sconces I had before, the wall lights I had were like just round and they just fit.
Yeah.
But the ones that they replaced it with were these long ones, and what they didn't measure it. And they didn't realize it when they went to push the bed against the wall. The headboard kept them bumped into the sconce, so it didn't do it. And then what added insult to injury is the sconces they put in didn't work because they couldn't find the light bulbs.
So it was all just Hollywood movie magic.
Yeah, the bed pissed me off. That was the one thing that pissed me off.
And talk about your bed because
Did they change the bed?
Yeah, that was the one thing. So I have this employee or former employee, Adam, who now lives on the North Shore, and this table is an Adam Van Hall.
no
That
kidding.
table's an
Pretty
Adam
much.
Van Hall. These tables are an Adam Van Hall. All those signs up there are Adams.
Oh, wow.
He did like
No
all
kidding.
that, and I helped him out with a little bit of surgery, and he basically paid me back with money over the years, but also with furniture and stuff
okay. That's
like that.
awesome.
And so I bought a bed, and he built this bed for me.
you have to describe it.
I mean, I don't. It's just.
It had a big Batman
It's like a race
logo
car.
on it.
Oh, cool.
It had a big wall above it.
That's
It
awesome.
had a big Batman, but it was above it. But it had a huge headboard.
Yeah.
And I really liked the bed. And when you go into when they start you off, they walk you around your house, and they're like, basically they give you 3 options. They're like, chuck, meaning you could just
Yeah.
throw it away.
Yeah.
I don't have no attachment to it. keep, but it doesn't. It's not important to me. Like there were a couple pieces of furniture that belonged to other people in my house. So I'm like, don't throw that away. I don't have a right to that. Don't throw that away, or you don't have to have that there. And the other thing was keep. And the one thing that in my room that I was keep was Adam's bed that he made for me, and they kept it there, but they spray painted it black. And Adam had stained it for several days. It was like, and if you look at the decor of the room, it's like that would have fit fine. It was dark, but that pissed me off. So I actually gave Mark my bed, and I had Adam build me a new bed.
Oh wow. Okay.
I did. And Mark, who also very important part of my life. He's back there somewhere. Also very important in my life. Yeah, you can actually put him on this show. He'll have more airtime on this show than he had on Queer Eye. But
tell some really terrible jokes.
No, I don't think so. But Mark was that aggravated me that they painted my bed.
And I just one of those Queer Eye guys crazy. Was outed as being like really abusive to their staff.
Oh, recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something about that. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it.
Sure.
Kind of put it behind me.
Did you read any of the comments or articles that were written about it?
About me?
About that episode?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I don't know, did it feel weird?
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think people, I just think people, it was nice. I think generally people had a favorable opinion because, I mean, I just try to be myself. I put it out there.
Yeah, sure.
Just try to be myself.
They really didn't know what they were going up against, I think.
I have no idea what they were.
Like they were the Titanic and you were the iceberg.
Oh, really?
A little bit, but in a good way. Like you're a benevolent iceberg.
Right.
I haven't really seen it.
It's not your fault. You were just there.
I mean, there's a lot of I read a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people that didn't like the episode, and I'm cool. I mean, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I put it out there. I tried to be myself, and I had never seen. I had been a religious watcher of the original Queer Eye.
Oh, really?
But I'd never seen the new one. And when I got selected, I was like, should I go watch it? And they said, no, you know, you don't have to. And we probably prefer you not to. And so I basically went in completely cold turkey, not knowing any of the people in it. You know, not really knowing it. The only prep I did was they wouldn't let me shave or cut my hair for
Oh, they want the effect. They want you to have an arc.
Oh yeah. I did not. I don't always look as gross as I did at the beginning of Queer
Eye. I watched little parts of that yesterday, just in doing my research. And
sure.
Oh, he shaves with his spit. That's so gross. And
did I really shave with my spit?
That's what they said. Yeah, that's what they said in the beginning of the episode.
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember saying that.
All right. Well, fair enough. I think that's it for the Queer Eye questions.
Thank God.
I kind of want to go a little bit back in time. So you, as far as I understand, you kind of came down here after Hurricane Katrina, and you started Stein's Deli. I believe it was 2007 or something like that.
February 14th.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow.
Around there. Yeah.
Well, that's the official.
Yeah. Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Nice.
Yeah. I think I actually walked into the city on Valentine's Day to get my occupational license.
Okay.
And I walked out without it because I think their computer system went down.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it does sound right. Yeah. And I think I went back the next day and got it.
Okay.
And then we opened.
Nice. So you grew up in a suburb of Philly, right?
Correct.
And you went into law for a little bit, and you're like, this is not really for me.
Correct.
What was the thing that got you into Deli? Why Deli?
I don't know. I don't know if this is necessarily the place that I intended to open.
Okay.
But I do remember when I was in college, a friend of mine dragged me to a deli on 43rd and Locust at the University of Pennsylvania called Koch's. It's just a takeout shop.
Okay.
And you got to try this place.
Koch's?
Yeah, and I went in and I was like, just immediately, just smitten with the place. And it was a little takeout shop. It's probably about, a quarter the size of this.
Okay.
Or it was a quarter the size of this, and there was a lot of banter between the deli guys and I was like, and it looked and it felt like familiar.
Yeah.
And then I remember asking my father, because he grew up in West Philadelphia. That's where I went to school, Penn. I asked him, I said, "How come you never take us to Koch's Deli?" And he's like, "I used to take you there all the time when you were a kid."
Huh.
He's like, "We haven't been there in a while." He's like, "Actually, your grandfather, my father, was their realtor."
Huh.
And was like, they were having issues with their landlord, and they hired him to go find a new place. And after he failed to find him a new place, he recommended they just buy the place from.
Okay.
And that's what they ended up doing. But so then I walked in and I told them that one day, and they were like,
"And you're the Stein boy."
And they're like, "Oh wow, that's your granddad."
Yeah.
And they knew less than their parents. So there was Bob and Lou were the sons, and they were running the business at that point, and the parents were Sid and Francis, and they had basically started this place. And Bob and Lou, it's hard to say, they were like Andre and me. Like Lou was like this sweet, cheery guy. That was Andre.
Okay.
And then Bob was this just grumpy guy and stuff like that. But meanwhile, like it was probably like behind the scenes, like Lou was like, grumpy as fuck. And Bob is actually probably a pretty nice guy and stuff like that.
So they have the kind of things that you serve here?
It was more just like basic, like takeout shop, but they had like giant sandwiches and these pre-made sandwiches. You could get anything you want. But what was really cool is it was like you were in line, and just it would take forever because if there were 10 people in line, each person could have like 3 sandwiches, and you got one deli guy that was making your sandwiches.
Right.
And while you're waiting in line, every 15 or 20 minutes, like clockwork, whatever they had on the slicer, they would slice off like 20 slices like hand it around the deli and keep people were sitting there talking and stuff like that. It was super fucking cool.
So that sounds like it's like a major inspiration for this place.
Yeah, I mean,
but also didn't you?
I mean, I could never copy that. I mean, I thought about copying that.
Well, this is so very much your thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's also a function of the location and what it is, but I couldn't pull that off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Have you found it to be, I guess, I don't know, uniquely challenging to try to make a deli in New Orleans?
I don't think so. I don't know. I just kind of went with it.
Mm-hmm. Sure, that makes sense.
I don't know if I could say. I mean, I didn't really. It might have been challenging if I had my heart set on a certain direction.
Right, but you just kind of adapted to what you could get out here.
I just.
Do you think that changes the menu? If you were going to do something like this in Philly, do you think you'd have like a very different set of offerings?
The answer is very different. No, but different, and would I conduct it differently? Yeah, I mean.
But also, like Philly, it's the bases are covered there. Like you wouldn't, would you even feel the need to open a shop like that in Philly?
Open a po' boy shop
they're
or
not
something.
as covered as you think.
Because I was going to say, didn't you get a job at DeBruni Brothers? Isn't that another big?
But that's not a deli. That's more of a fancy market. I actually got offered a job at Koch's. That was another thing. I actually wanted to work there part-time, during my senior year, because I only had 2 classes, and my father wouldn't let me because he didn't want me to go into the restaurant business.
Oh.
Fuck you, Dad.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, I showed him.
He did.
How does he feel about this?
I don't think he's upset.
That's good.
But yeah. But I'm sure he loves my laparoscopic urologist Cleveland Clinic brother more than he loves me.
Well, he's not on Queer Eye, so you know.
Yeah, I know.
So
He doesn't need to be on Queer Eye.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Did you have a standard Wawa order when you lived up there?
Whoa. So, when I wrestled in high school, and I was terrible, they used to call me Ox.
Oh, no
but
kidding.
not because
That's a cool nickname for a
Yeah,
wrestler.
no, it was a sarcastic nickname because I was like I was this same height, but I was 130 pounds.
Oh wow, no
so
kidding.
so it was like a string bean. So they
Jeez.
yeah, so
Hard
they
to
called
imagine.
me. Yeah, so thanks. So yeah, they called me. It was like a joke. It was like ox. The whole place would go
Yeah.
blowing up. Like it's it's kind of funny.
I love that.
But I used to go. So I would have to make weight but not like
Right.
the other guys would make weight. Like the other guys
Yeah.
are like dying, and I'm like, yeah, I just didn't eat last night or something like that
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
weight. And I do remember getting. I used to get a Wawa tuna salad sandwich.
Oh, that was your cut meal?
with hot peppers on it.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's like, and so every once in a while when somebody orders a tuna salad sandwich with hot peppers, I'm like,
Nice.
I'm not going to make fun of you because that as much as that sounds weird, I
Yeah.
know I've been there and I've
that's
done
awesome.
that. Yeah.
Is that a common order?
No,
Yeah, I didn't
probably
think
not.
so.
No. Tuna melt though, I'll make fun of you. Not a big fan of the tuna.
But you'll
melt.
make it.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's on the menu.
Huh. Yeah, I wanted to ask about the menu actually. So
Oh,
did you come
please.
up with the whole menu?
I mean, so one thing that that needs to be said about like this whole thing is
Yeah.
is I didn't come up with the menu.
Okay.
This is not my creation. This is
It's a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people,
Yeah.
the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is I mean, I look at this as like it's everybody's deli,
Uh-huh.
and I just try to take care of it.
So what, people are coming up and asking you like, hey, why don't you have this on the menu? And
No,
you're like, let's
it's.
see if
I
we can
mean,
do
to
that.
some extent, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
I mean-
also-
well, yeah. I mean, if I have some people like I get one request every 6 months for vegan cream cheese, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, why don't you have vegan cream cheese? I'm like, because you're the first person I asked for 6 months. I don't feel like
Yeah, yeah. It's not a
spooning
lot
out
of demand,
one batch of vegan cream cheese and throwing it away. That's not cost effective.
Sure.
So, yeah. But
You told me, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Stein's Market in Deli, and I think you told me once that you thought it was going to be more of a market with a deli, but the deli part is what kind of took off.
Interesting.
And so now it's more of a deli than a market, but that wasn't the original
That's-
plan. That's just a response
that was
to
the truth. I
Interesting.
didn't
The
actually.
market.
I was thought we were going to be more of a market, and
Yeah.
then making some sandwiches on the side. But
Because you have like one of the best craft beer selections in town, probably.
yeah, I mean that was a function of it too. Was
Yeah.
I knew a lot about craft beer coming in, and that was going to be another sort of. It was all about diversification.
Yeah.
It's all
Okay.
about having like all different things.
Yeah, yeah.
As many different things under one roof that you could fit in one roof.
There's a lot of cool stuff that you can get here for
There's
sure.
a lot of cool stuff. The beer business has changed and altered so much over the last, I guess, like what? It's been 2008, I think I got my license, and now we're in 24, so 16 years. But the whole craft beer boom, and now
Yeah, right.
you're witnessing like I don't know if you call it a craft beer recession, but
Mm.
you're seeing a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like what, people drinking seltzers now or something?
It's a function of a lot of stuff. It's from my perspective, it's the market grew too fast, and
Yeah.
supply grew too fast, and it oversaturated. So when you oversaturate, now you're going to see, some people fall out because
Yeah.
you have too much supply. But also more importantly, what was cool about or different about the beer business when it first got into it was the relative scarcity. It's because it
Right.
was scarce.
You had to hunt it down.
It was special.
Yeah, right.
And now most beer drinkers can basically get their hands on anything.
Sure.
It's not special
Yeah.
anymore. And because it's not special anymore, they don't feel the need to buy tons of bottles of this or trade
Yeah,
that
right.
or this or that, because it's just so it took some of the luster off of it. And that's not,
Yeah.
that's a market functioning now like a market should function.
Right.
It's not, but
There's also probably something there about like where I live in Austin, you can't throw a rock without hitting a brewery. And there's a lot of these places where you go and they
when I
people
went to
just go.
Austin this weekend, I was like, man, it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of breweries.
Yeah.
Here.
And they make great beer. And
Yeah, they
so
make
like
great
people
beer.
are more likely to like maybe go over there.
I mean, I didn't see
try things.
I didn't see a lot that were like stupid crowded or anything like that. I don't. But yeah, there's that's to be said here too. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's more breweries opening up around here too. Which is great.
There are, but there's breweries shutting or scaling back.
Really? No kidding.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Huh.
Yeah, there's there's been at least one that's shut and at least one that's scaled back dramatically, and now you're also looking at self-distribution. So you're seeing a lot of breweries try to reach out and cut out the middleman
Yeah,
and
right.
self-direct to bars and not have to lose that percentage.
Yeah. Huh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite sandwich out of all the sandwiches that y'all offer?
No.
No?
It's like asking a favorite child.
It's like it depends on my mood sometimes. Sometimes I'm really in the mood for, I will say that I do like, I'm probably the outlier of my customers in that I like corned beef more than I like pastrami.
Yeah, I made the switch somewhere along the way. I started eating, because I had never had a Reuben before I came here. So I went, like most of my adult life. And somewhere along the way I had the Rachel instead of the Reuben. I was like, oh, this is my sandwich forever now.
So you're a Rachel guy.
Oh, yeah.
So you like
yeah.
the pastrami. See,
Yeah,
I
love
like
pastrami.
I like Reubens better than I like
Really?
Rachel's.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's just more my jam. So I like that, but to be honest with you, no, I don't know. I usually do simple stuff, or if something gets messed up, I'm like, all right, I can eat that.
Yeah.
It's not a tuna melt. I can eat
Yeah,
that.
right.
But to
Do
be
you have
honest with you, my knees hurt, and I'm trying to lose some weight right now. So, been eating salads lately.
Fair enough. Y'all have great salads, too.
Yeah.
You ever get that burrata back in? You had those
Oh,
really
those
good
burrata?
Yeah, that was amazing.
No, I didn't do that last summer. Maybe this summer. It was
The burrata with the prosciutto.
that was
incredible.
a super cool salad. Yeah. It was cool because who was it? It was I can't remember who it was. I think it was Belgioso, but they basically said, "Hey, we're going to offer a burrata, which we're going to do hand pull ourselves." And it was like totally reasonable.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: we can only ship out like 4 cases every other week, or so 4 cases a week to a market. So they tasted around to all these places, and like all these places like jumped on it, and they're like, I
Yeah.
need 10 cases. And they're like, no, we can't
Yeah, right.
do that. And I was like, I'll take 1 case. And they're like, all right, sold. And I was
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we had 1 case, and we had this unbelievable hand pull burrata that
Yeah.
was like also stupid reasonable. And I was like, we got to make a salad out of this because we got to use it. And I think you bought the most of it. Well, yeah.
I was in love with that
I think
salad,
they had one
yeah.
other customer, Alexis. She bought it too, a lot,
That's
and
fun.
she
And then-
came in and bought it.
You'll forever be known as like burrata, like
Burrata salad guy.
Yeah,
no,
I like
I don't
it.
think Will wore a lot of different hats.
like
Yeah.
who is
That's
it?
right.
What's his name? One of your carpenters?
Oh, Peter?
No, it's just known as like something Tab.
Oh, Alex Peter.
Alex P. Tab.
Yeah, he was here
Like-
this morning with
Like,
his.
that's
with
not his last
family.
name.
Tab was like
But he has a
Alex,
tab.
Alex
Oh.
Pomerley, but yeah, he had a
Alex
tab.
P. Tab.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
funny. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
That's pretty good. Do you have a favorite sandwich, by the way?
You know,
Garlic
kind of
bagel.
not. I mean, bacon, egg, and cheddar on a garlic bagel is a great breakfast
Sure, yeah.
standard.
Can't go wrong.
The Foxy is mine, which I do love,
Which
but
one's the Fox?
it's roast beef and avocado and
Oh, I see
horseradish
that
and
now.
cheddar.
Yeah.
But I love most
When
of
he
the
made
specials.
that sandwich, I was like, I don't get it. And then I had it once. I'm like, oh, this is really good.
Oh, is it
Yes.
named after you?
Yes.
It's actually
Oh, okay.
named after
You made
Fox.
the
He's like,
sandwich.
I actually, yeah, he
I
came
made
up.
it. I made it
Okay.
on
And I
the
was
board.
like, and I
Nice.
was like,
I love
I
that.
was like, do we really need this sandwich? And I think he put it, and I was like, this is
Yeah,
a
people
dumb-
order it a
this
lot.
is a dumb sandwich, and this is a dumm sandwich, and why? And
Roast
I
beef,
think he made a
avocado.
scene, and we had to
Yeah,
put it on
probably.
there, and then we put it on there, and ultimately it sold. And actually now, whenever I do like trays for people, I'm like, that's one of like, that like there's 4 sandwiches I recommend, like to give it, you want a turkey sandwich, so the Dan, which is mine, I guess,
Okay.
a turkey and
Which
bacon.
people always ask me is the Dan named after me, and I'm like, no,
That's
it's named after Dan Stein, the
Yeah.
owner.
Yeah, I
Makes
used to
sense.
get a honey turkey club at that deli and stuff
Okay.
like that. Dan, and then there's the Foxy, and then an Italian hoagie,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
then
hoagie's
probably
solid.
like a corned beef special.
Yeah.
Because corned beef is much better cold than pastrami is cold. So those will be like the 4 things, and then maybe like a caprese with prosciutto or something like that. And those will be like, and that's a good base. Like tomorrow, I think I have a tray going out with like 20 sandwiches, and it's like 4, 4, 4, and 4.
I don't know why I never thought about getting caprese here.
And the
Do
Fernando,
that.
the Fernando is great because everything but the prosciutto is made in house on that sandwich. So you got the ciabatta made in house.
No kidding.
The mozzarella is like kind of made in house. Like
It's just, I mean, it's curved.
it comes
You
in,
don't make- yeah.
and then the pesto is made in house.
Make the best of it.
So that's like that's as much of a craft sandwich you can get here, where everything's made in
Yeah,
house
that's
except
cool.
for the prosciutto, and it's also delicious. I mean, all those things are good.
Y'all
on
don't
it.
make any of your meats, huh?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
We take a lot of effort in procuring them, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but no.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so you came here in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. We just went through the whole pandemic thing, and what I was reading, you had done an interview with these people, and you were talking about kind of coming into Katrina and being able to kind of set up shop here when it was it was like less things are going on in New Orleans. The pandemic is kind of a similar situation in that a lot of places have closed down. A lot of like old institutions are like gone now. Do you see people kind of coming in with that same kind of like entrepreneurial mindset and trying
No.
to plant their flag in New Orleans now? No.
No, it's not like it. It's not anything like what happened after Katrina. Katrina was like the Wild West.
Oh, really?
He just came in. There was, I mean, I guess there are some similarities. I mean, the government is not quite, is probably fully funded as it needs to be.
Yeah.
I remember the last time I seen a meter maid on the street, here
Yes.
and stuff like that. But yeah, I remember when we were building this place out, I was like, talking to my quote contractor, and I'm like, permits? He's like, no, you just put newspapers over the windows and you open up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. I'm
Yeah.
like, sounds, yeah. And that's, I think post Katrina, there was a lot of that. And I don't think the city was, I mean, I wouldn't know because I'm not as tuned to it, but I don't think the city was, prepared to deal with any enforcement. But I also don't think the city
Talking about
was
the pandemic?
no, after
Oh, after
Katrina.
okay.
But I don't think the city was. I don't think the city wanted to prevent. I think they wanted to do everything possible to let places come in here
Sure.
and start up.
Yeah, yeah.
After the pandemic, this place is different.
Like this, like your deli, or just the neighborhood, New Orleans in
New
general?
Orleans in general.
Yeah.
There is a lot of stuff going on here, and it's, we've seen, I think, Dave Wagner is Wagner and Ball. His son Peter is in my exercise my class at F45, and he told me that we've had at least a 10% drop in population in the city
Since the pandemic.
Correct.
Wow.
And
Huh.
yeah, I think so. A lot of it has to do with like insurance rates. So a lot of it's not have to do with
Sure. Yeah.
it. Just
Well-
none of it. Not all of it has to do with the pandemic. A lot of it has to do with Ida, and
Oh,
and
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that's caused like my insurance for my house has gone from I think I was paying 2 years ago. I was paying like $5,800. I think I'm at like 11 or 12 now. 11 or 12 grand.
Jeez.
But
Yeah.
also Airbnb. I mean, nobody lives here anymore is the refrain.
Yeah, but I don't think Airbnb is doing very well either. The one thing, like we had a terrible summer here last year. A lot of people are really dreading this summer.
Because it's so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hot?
Yeah.
That's an overly simplistic way of looking at it. Sorry, Will.
It was a drought.
You're
On
showing
top
your
of it
you're
being
showing your
hot.
age and your naivete. There's nobody here. And it's my firm belief, and I always say this, and I have no evidence to point to it. I mean, I have no stats to back it up. But during COVID, when interest rates went down and people were basically refinancing their houses and buying houses, people
Yeah.
elsewhere bought houses here,
Yeah.
and people here bought houses elsewhere.
Yes.
And neither of those people lives here during the summer.
Yeah.
And that becomes a problem because this place becomes deserted
Right.
during the summer. And last year you had a lot of restaurants coming out of COVID and having issues staffing. And
Yes.
we fought like the Dickens. We're going to keep our staff because we need our staff in the fall when things ramp back up.
Yeah.
Well, the fall never really came back to where it was,
Hmm.
but the summer was just dreadful last
Yeah.
year. I mean, it's also a function of
ghost town.
no movie business here.
Correct.
There's also
Right.
a function of Fox will attest to that.
I mean, you get a lot of catering orders from film productions.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
From
there's
departments, not.
Yeah,
You might
right.
have 4 or 5 different departments order lunch of their own department, and all that business was
it's a
gone.
huge trickle-down effect. There's not a lot of conventions. Conventions tend to taper down during the summer
That
months.
makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't want to be here because it's hot, but they also don't want to be
Humid,
here
yeah.
and risk a cancellation and lose money if there is a hurricane.
Right,
That's why you'll
yeah.
never don't see a lot of conventions August and September.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing is people are always like, just get to September, and then no.
They'll go into October, too.
The kids coming back in September, not enough
Yeah.
to turn things around. It's only when you start to see the conventions and the tourism and that money comes in that you start to see the trickle down. So when basically the hard date now is like May 20th. That weekend, Tulane graduation weekend.
Uh-huh.
June, July, August, September, October. 5 full months now of basically
Just really low demand.
just businesses hanging on,
Yeah. Huh.
trying to minimize losses, or at least they will be this summer
Right.
and stuff like that.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I hadn't heard about that side of it. So do
Yeah.
you ever talk to, like, I don't know, maybe this is a stupid question, but do you ever talk to, like, the city, like the city's trying to do
Oh, yeah, he's
anything?
best
Like-
friends with-
Ironically, I actually had a meeting where I pulled a bunch of restaurateurs in front of the city.
Okay.
and,
How'd that go?
it went well. Unfortunately, we never had a follow-up meeting because we got busy. But I think it was nice to hear a lot of restaurants were in similar
Yeah.
boats about like basically getting caught with their pants down.
Yeah.
Last summer, especially because I think the summer before it was like the first summer after COVID, so it was actually not a bad summer because a lot of people traveled. So even though it was
Okay.
slower, it wasn't. But last summer was like crickets.
Wow.
It was dead. here.
So are you, I guess, I don't know. Y'all waiting for a response from the city, or like
No,
you
I
bring
mean,
up
we
things that
talked
are like
about- I
action
think
items for them?
No, I mean we talked about that with them and the city and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the city can maybe help.
Yeah.
But I think. Yeah,
I mean, they can't do anything about how hot it is.
They can't
outside.
stop hurricanes.
We're-
They can't lower the insurance rates.
We're
Yeah.
businesses.
They can't
I mean, we're
bring
the
more citizens into the
I
city
mean,
to live here all the time.
We could. I mean, there are certain things that they could do probably and do better.
Yeah.
One thing that I think that came out of the meeting was the fact that I don't know if the city has like a coordinated marketing effort like other cities do. I think New Orleans for all the longest time has been like, we don't need one. We're New Orleans. And
yeah.
They do have an entity, but
but it's
that's like a whole other conversation.
We're New Orleans, but I mean
They expect
now,
conventions
but
and-
now you have Charleston, and
You're right.
now you have
Austin.
Nashville, and now you have Austin, and you
Yeah.
have all these other charming southern cities
Right.
to compete with tourism. So I think it's
Yeah, right.
important at some point for New Orleans to realize that and to get its act together. But that was one small I mean, I don't know if it's a small thing that came out of the meeting, but that's one small thing that I got out of the meeting.
It's the competition of other cities.
It was also the fact that the city just needs to do better. But that being said, I mean, we're businesses.
Mhm.
You know, I'm still a big, fan of the market, and
Yeah.
and to some extent, we have to figure out the market. If the market's sad, then we have to figure out how to adapt to a shitty market.
Yeah.
If it means cutting staff, or if it means,
It's offering
doing
less.
certain things. Last year, I mean, I didn't do it right, but I was encouraged to get on a second app like Uber,
Oh, okay.
and I was encouraged to do it, and I did it. I should have bumped up my prices a little bit
Yeah.
more, but I did it because, but ultimately, if I go back and look at my numbers without that bump,
Yeah.
oh, it would have been horrendous.
So so the Uber Eats was really like you needed.
I mean,
that.
Uber, you needed the apps, and that's
Yeah.
actually something that's also grown out of
the pandemic.
the pandemic
Yeah,
is
right.
the people's reliance on the apps, and it's caused, so the deli,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
It's old school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
People aren't seeing it.
not as much as I want.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that we tend to keep our apps on now during the morning hours.
Yeah.
Just to keep business going. I've got like 2 large catering orders tomorrow morning,
Uh-huh.
and not sure what my staffing is going to look like. So
Right.
I might be more hesitant to leave them on, or to, not turn them off at some point so
Yeah.
that we get our work done. But if we don't have orders like that, then I'm going to, those are the only people that are coming into the deli.
Yeah.
But that's
in the
kind of
morning.
fucked up too, right?
I mean, it's fucked up.
When does this come out? Like, how many does it come out? Like a week later, 2 weeks?
This will
later?
be not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
It's not. You see, if you come with the thought that it's fucked up, then you become one of those people that doesn't change with the times.
What
So-
do you mean? I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand.
So if I say it's fucked up, that
like the situation is fucked up,
Yeah,
the market is fucked up.
that
apps.
the apps are
Oh, the
fucked up,
apps.
that it's fucked up, that you're not changing with the time. There are some people that are like, great, Stein, we like the way the place looks, we like getting insulted by you, but
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah.
a fucking hurry, and I
Yes.
can't leave my office, and I want my sandwich.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And I
sure.
have to understand that.
Yeah.
That's
And stuff
undercutting
like-
your staff.
Yeah, but it changes a little bit of the dynamic here because, I mean, granted, I bumped the price up, but when people come in here and buy stuff, they tend to tip here, and then the tip goes to the staff, so it changes the structure and the flow of the way.
And they buy more shit.
And they also buy stuff off the shelf. There's stuff I don't put on the apps and move stuff. So
that's our next ad campaign.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, we're working on it. All right,
come into the store, please.
But if you are under, if you do not change and just sit there like a grumpy old and don't realize the changes in the marketplace, then you have to. Then it's not gonna go well. Yeah, I've seen other businesses that just stuck it out. I'm going to do it my way, and then at the end, it's like, all right, it's too late.
Those apps are also like, I don't know, like, because I used them a lot for a little while, but then they've gotten so expensive.
Have they gotten more expensive?
I mean, it's like if I came in here. And I ordered.
So I've never actually ordered on.
No kidding.
I've never ordered delivery on an app. I have ordered to go pick up something on like Toast or something like that.
Gotcha.
A lot of like restaurants, like they don't have a person; they just want you to order on that.
Yeah.
And if it's, but I've never actually ordered.
So I'd say like a $30 order here would be like $50 on the app or something like that.
Well, I mean, I bump up my price anywhere from $1 to $2 per item
on the app.
Because I basically at some point I realized after the summer was over last year, I turned around and I'm like, guys, the apps are here to stay.
Yeah.
This is I always thought, hey, I'm going to be able to just turn this shit off in October when business ramps up, and I'm not have to, and I'm tell these, give it the big bird, and it's here to stay.
This is just where the market is now.
Yeah, so I basically at that point I gave all my guys $1 raise.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I'm keeping the apps on. You're not getting tipped. I have to give you money. I have to give you more money, and that's just the way we have to fend it off, and that's the way we're going to do it. But it's kind of discouraging. But it's but it's the other thing that's I don't know if that John Oliver piece is necessarily correct. There was John Oliver did something on it.
I haven't seen it.
But
did a whole
so you've seen the apps sort of consolidate now. There's like what? There's like kind of like 3 now. It's like Grubhub,
DoorDash,
and Uber Eats.
Yeah.
And to some extent, there's an argument that they're not making any money. And that they're basically losing money to gain
just like the Uber
to gain market share,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Anytime you're involved in business, I'm sorry if I'm gonna get angry right now or something like this. This is my business.
No, please go on.
My economic. Anytime somebody is losing money or not performing short term in an economically efficient manner to make money, you're going to fuck up the whole market.
It's like a bubble.
You're going to fuck everything up.
Yeah.
So if you're all of a sudden telling people, hey, it's actually not that expensive for you to order and get it shipped to your house, then people are saying, why am I going to the place? Why am I going to waste my time? Why am I going to do this? When really it should cost more than that, but you're doing it cheaper to try to gain market share.
Yes.
But that's going to have an effect on certain businesses that don't. Bullshit. Yeah, I guess so. That do not adapt to that market. I mean, I guess I'm happy to say, hey, Stein's has somewhat adapted to that market, and I tell that to other people like now who've come to me and ask me, what are you doing about this and that? And I said, I'm on apps. I shut them off when I'm busy because I give preference to the people that walk into my deli, and I give second preference to the people that call in their phone orders, because those people come into my deli, they pay 100% on the dollar, and they tip my staff.
Right.
They get preference. The app people do not get preference. But if there's nobody else here, guess what?
Yeah.
The app people get to spend their money here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But if you do not adapt to that, then you're going to sit through now quiet periods where because other people are sitting in their offices at 2 p.m. and they don't want to leave their office to go get something to eat, so they're gonna, what's on the app? What can I get in
sure.
here?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's convenient. That's so we're kind of reaching the end of this segment. So basically, I like to do an interview segment, and then I have a questions out of a hat segment, which is a little more fun. Or it's
This is not fun?
No, this is fun. I mean, well, I say this because we're talking about something that's I guess a little bit more negative. I have another negative kind of tone question to ask you, because last year you were kind of very publicly the victim of a carjacking, and I kind of just wanted to ask, like,
Sure.
does it make you feel different about this neighborhood at all, or working in New Orleans at all? And I lived in this neighborhood. I never thought it was particularly sketchy or anything like that.
The answer is a little bit.
Yeah.
Not as much as you probably think.
Uh-huh.
The answer is a little bit.
Yeah. That's fair.
My joke earlier
I mean,
was
yeah,
that
that's totally, I would.
The answer is a lot.
my joke was you'd rather talk about the carjacking than Queer Eye.
Yeah,
It was less traumatic.
Yeah, probably. Well, that's one. That's probably one thing. The other joke is people are like, weren't you here really late that night? I was like, yeah. The ironic thing was, I was going to New York the next day.
I saw
so
you,
I actually
you
left.
Instagram.
I actually left early. I think left. I usually would leave at like 1:30 in the morning. I think I left at like whatever it was, like 12:30.
Yeah.
So if I just left when I was supposed to, I wouldn't have had the problem. But yeah. I mean, I guess that's not funny.
Thing.
Yeah, it ended up being wrong place, wrong time. I mean, a lot of it happens a lot, though.
Yeah.
It happens a lot, too much, and stuff like that. And
it's a shame.
It is. Does it change? I mean, coming into the summer months, I will be far more, especially when it's less populated on the streets, especially when younger kids aren't in school and stuff like that. Because, I mean, what happened to me was a bunch of young kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't see their faces and stuff like that.
Was there ever any follow-up with the police? Like, you have any idea what happened to them?
Of course there was follow-up.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they originally they said there were leads, and then I lost track of the detective, and then I reached out to them again, and they said that that the case had basically gone cold.
The kids, I mean, when they're kids, like they do tend to get away with.
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
All right, fair enough.
I have no idea how it works and stuff like that. So, but I mean, as it goes now, like into the summer, I will be, and the Garden District was like super cool. They have like security. They're like, hey,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Garden District has security. We have security. Just call us, and we'll walk you to your car. And I was like,
that's nice.
Yeah. So I mean, that's So that's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So but when I leave at night, I look around and stuff like that,
awareness.
and make sure there's no cars in the area and stuff like that. And if I have like a couple trips or something like that, I go back and forth really quick. I don't want to get stuck going back and forth and sitting around, and it's boom, boom, boom. There's certain things you can do to be more careful so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You want to say anything else on that?
No, they did catch you slipping a little bit, so you're probably better about that now. Like just
no, absolutely.
Not really meandering to the car.
Yeah, I mean, or
it was right in front of the store,
or sitting there and stuff like that. And I do have a propensity to be like show back up after I've gone somewhere and sit in front of the deli. Like I have to go finish something, but I don't really want to go finish it, so I'll sit in my car for 10 minutes and look at my fantasy baseball, or read something about on the news. But now I'm like, hey, I don't want that to happen to me again for two reasons. Number one, everybody will look me like an idiot, and also I just don't want it to happen again.
No, I don't know if people
You're
think
like,
you're an idiot.
yeah, well, they would. If they're like, what are you
not
doing? What are
prepared to write
what are
your
you-
obituary.
Yeah.
That's fucked up though, because it's not on you. You know,
I
like
mean,
that's not how people should look at it.
I mean, it isn't on me, but this is. This is the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm truly sorry that it happened to you because it's very fucked
I
up.
appreciate that, but it's not your fault.
Well, sure, sure. Yeah. So, okay, I have a special edition of this segment just for you. Usually I just pull the questions out of a hat. I'm going to start with a special, very quick this or that segment, right? So we're picking, these are kind of like, if one thing has to go, you can only pick one of these two things. East Coast versus Gulf Coast. And you can answer as well, please. So, the first of these is Italian hoagie or muffalata.
Well, the muff has to go. The hoagie is a
What do you mean has to?
Has to go from the world.
like you have to pick one or the
Yeah.
other.
I have to pick one
You have
or
to
the
pick
other?
one over the other. Only one can exist.
The hoagie, but I'll be honest with you, muffaletta is the olive salad on that is a cool thing. I guess
It's great.
I mean,
But you
I
can
guess what
only
you
pick
could-
one.
Yeah. No, you should. Well, honestly, what you should do is, an Italian hoagie is the thing you keep, and like we have a spicy pepper relish to go with our hoagie. You should
Okay.
they should have like an olive salad as a condiment that you can give to a hoagie. Like a hoagie should
Yeah.
just be everywhere.
Like what you do
Right.
with the hoagie is you order it on Lundi Gras because y'all are open on Lundi Gras, and then you keep it till Mardi Gras, and it's your Mardi Gras savior sandwich.
Okay.
No, I think you tell everybody you have a hoagie, and then you offer people, well, you want spicy pepper relish, you can get the spicy pepper relish. You want the olive salad on the hoagie, you can get the olive salad on the hoagie. Because, yeah.
The
I
point
like
being that
it's a little bit of a
hoagie-
loophole, but I like that.
The
Yeah.
hoagie
I mean-
ages like a fine wine. Like the longer it sits out, or you can, it's good
I just-
like days later.
I just think the muffalata, I was like, surprisingly, I kind of like the sandwich.
Yeah.
I do. I like it from somebody who originally was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I kind of do like the olive salad and stuff like that. But, I mean, the hoagie is a hoagie. Lettuce, tomato, onions is, I think,
Yeah.
far more important than olive salad.
Okay. Cheesesteaks or roast beef po' boys?
Wow.
These are good questions.
Cheesesteaks or roast beef po' boys. I mean, it depends. It depends on who's making it.
Okay. You're the best one of each.
The best one of each?
Yeah. The ideal, the platonic cheesesteak versus the platonic
I mean, that's
roast
a
beef po'
function
boy.
of where you're from. That's.
No, you're
Well, I'm
you're
sorry, but
overanalyzing.
yeah, well, that's me. I'm Dan Stein. I overanalyze everything. I see shit where there's not shit to be seen.
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I love cheesesteaks. I don't need a roast beef po' boy. I've had good roast beef po'
Okay.
boys, and I enjoy a good roast beef po' boy. And I won't sit here and tell like this city that they need to get rid of the roast beef po' boy and bring in cheesesteaks.
That's
But
not
that
what we're
being-
saying.
Just
here.
answer
This is
the
a personal
question, Senator.
preference thing.
Oh, personal preference?
Yeah, it's personal preference.
I-
Yeah, you're not like dictator of the world. We're not talking about
Oh,
policy
okay.
here.
All right.
yes
I'm
or no,
sorry.
Senator.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Yes. What am I yesing
It's
to?
cheesesteaks. It
I
sounds
would-
like it's
I would rather
cheesesteaks.
have a. I would rather have a whiz cheesesteak
Okay.
than a roast beef po' boy.
What's your answer on this?
I think that the cheesesteak is the most overrated sandwich in the world.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think the roast beef po' boy is
I
actually.
don't get it.
The cheesesteak.
And I've had Geno's or whatever.
You've had Pat?
In Philly,
I'm not-
Pat's,
Those are
whatever.
overrated, though.
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
The whole concept is overrated.
I'm not
I
going to
don't- I don't
disagree
agree.
with you in that.
It's a
stuff-
spicy take,
It's
but-
like no, it's not. It's like I don't disagree with you, but I also think the roast beef po' boy is like overcooked beef. I'm like
Sure.
with gravy. It's like
Oh man.
yeah,
Oh,
overcooked
man.
beef and gravy and then mustard, and it's like I don't know
I don't know if I've had one with mustard.
I think that's what.
Yeah, you have to get the right, like maybe the debris sandwich. Or
Yeah,
that
or
version
something
of it's
like
pretty
that.
good.
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't have a lot of them and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that.
But you do like them, as
I
you
don't mind
say.
a roast
Yeah,
beef
yeah.
po' boy. I actually usually get one, like once every week or every other week. I get one from Domalisi's or something.
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
nice. I will
But,
say the cheesesteak here is actually what got me first coming here. I had
Really?
never heard anything about Stein's.
I
I just
would
walked
say
around
that
the
we-
corner. I saw you had one, and I was
Ours
like,
is-
"This is accurate," because I lived
It's
up near
accurate,
Philly
but
in high school.
I wouldn't say we're a blow away cheesesteak.
It's good though. It's very good.
It's solid. One of the
Yeah.
issues is our grill because the grill is so hot. It
Yeah.
cooks the meat faster and
Yes,
stuff
right,
like
right,
that.
yeah.
And it tends to dry. It's not.
It's not what you're gonna get in Philly,
It's
but
not
it is
an
very
ideal
good.
way to get a cheesesteak and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
more of like a bodega cheesesteak.
I mean, the ideal is to go into Philly and go to some random deli and just get they put a dump truck of meat on one of those Amorosa
Well,
rolls.
it depends. There's so many different ones too in Philly.
Yeah.
You go to Manioc, you go to Dalsandro's and they chop the fuck out of it, and it's like almost like fluffy like a cushion, but they don't season it enough.
Yeah.
But you go to Chubby's across the street, they season it. Then you go to Mama's and it's a grinder, and you go to Pat's and they have it, and Gino's, they do it their way. That's like more South Philly style.
Yeah.
And it's not really chopped as much as so they're all different. I mean, I love Pat's only because that's where I went college, getting drunk and going
Yeah.
over to Pat's at 3 a.m. I mean, yeah,
It's classic.
yeah, for me it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's probably somebody else's definition of classic is different.
All right, Hubigs or Tasty Cakes?
Ooh. I haven't really had a Hubix pie, to be honest with you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't been around. That's fair.
I mean, they've been around. Actually, the guy who used to be the owner of Hubix Pie used to come in here
Oh, no kidding.
all the time.
We did a Hubig's ad where you were the pie guy.
Yeah. But
No kidding.
he used to
That's
come in
funny.
here all
I
the
like that a
time,
lot.
and he tried to.
We got the blessing for that too.
and
I think.
we sold Hubix here for like a couple weeks, and nobody was buying them because
Oh,
this
okay.
is like the Hubix Pie place.
Yeah, it's a different vibe for sure.
Tasty Cakes is kind of different now because they got bought out by Bunny Bread
Huh.
a couple years ago. I guess it's the same, but doesn't kind of lost the mystique a little bit. But for me, it's always going to be a butterscotch crimpet.
Okay. Nice.
Butterscotch crimpet, yeah.
St. Patrick's Day in New Orleans or the Mummers Parade in Philly?
I never made it to a Mummers Parade.
All right, fair enough. I
And
think
and
Mummers are
I
weird, to
have
be honest with you.
been a part, and I am a living, breathing part of every fucking St. Patrick's Day parade.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
we're on the
St.
we're on the
Patrick's Day
route.
parade,
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yeah, it is. Yeah, St. Patrick's
It's-
Day
okay.
is a source of a lot of fun and a lot of trauma.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Eagles or Saints?
Eagles, but with the caveat that I don't really watch pro football anymore.
Oh, okay. What, any specific reason, or you just kind of fell off?
I don't like the way they treat. I don't like the way they treat their players. I mean, I look at it like a business.
Like the concussions?
I didn't. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
look at it. If I treated my employees that way,
Yeah, right.
if I hurt them and then try to what, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't like the way they treat their customers. You know, I'll say one of the two things that stick out of my mind is first of all the way they've just taken teams away from certain cities, and
Yeah.
it's just been like, all right.
Yeah, they uprooted.
Yeah, they're a criminal organization. In my opinion.
I don't know about criminal, but it's abusive. It's abusive. It's
Yeah.
just like we just take the team and we just leave, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, what are these people? What is St. Louis supposed to do?
Yeah,
what is San
right,
Diego supposed
yeah.
to do? What is Oakland supposed to do?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's like denying somebody has like an attachment. Here they are preaching an attachment to a team,
Yeah.
and then just taking the team like, oh, you were attached to them. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's like some sort of
It's messed up.
that's like some sort of like really bad like
Yeah, it's extortion.
emotional abuse.
Yeah.
That's like awful.
That's like in ancient
That's like
times going
something you
into-
read like
Yeah.
like narcissists do or something like that. It's like really bad.
Going into some of these cities and destroying the
And then
statues of their
the
gods.
other thing that I thought was really obnoxious would go back to was that play where the Saints didn't make it into the Super Bowl because the pass interference play, and the
The no
fact
call.
that again
Yes.
they just denied it. It's like, what? Did something
Yes.
happen last week?
Yes.
It's like I'm sorry, as a business owner, I come down there and I'm like, nobody leaves the city. Neither team leaves the city until we figure out what the hell just happened and stuff like that. So it was like, and I think remember that I think the Saints filed a protest. Oh, but they sent it to the league office, but we weren't there. I'm like, what is that? What do you mean you weren't there? I mean, it's like where are they supposed to send it? They're supposed to like, I mean, again, this is how you treat.
Yeah.
This is how you treat your fans. This is how you treat your customers. This is so.
Oh, this is the result. I mean, people lose trust in the whole game.
So the answer is, I basically go out of my way not to watch the games.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
that's a reasonable answer.
Yeah. If the Eagles, I think I saw them in the playoffs. I think I watched a quarter of that game. Well, first of all, it was like awful. But I think, I mean, if they make it to the Super Bowl, did I enjoy watching the Eagles beat Tom Brady? Oh, yeah. That was
always.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
Yeah.
When they strip sack, that was wonderful. But, especially to those guys, absolutely. But do I watch it anymore? No.
Yeah.
They don't treat their fans right. They don't treat their employees right. They don't treat their customers right. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So the end of the day is Eagles over Saints, but I don't really want to watch either of them.
God. Do you feel the same way?
I mean, I'm born and raised here, so I'm sort of a Saints fan. But I will say,
I would assume that
I do like when the Phillies are in the World Series. I love that this Deli's like a little Philly outpost.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if there's like a Philly team that's doing well, be it the Eagles or the Phillies, like it's really fun to watch it here. I think we watched. Did we watch like the Super Bowl here or something? It was fun.
I did watch the Super Bowl here. But I don't think you were here. I know Billy Dollar was.
Like
here.
that was wonderful.
You guys ever have to grease the lamp poles around here during that time?
No, I mean, where? Oh, you mean for the Saints? Or
No,
for
the Phillies. I'm
no,
making a Philly sports joke.
I think last year somebody invited me to an Eagles watch party, and I was like, no thanks, I got work to do.
Right, fair enough.
And stuff like that. They're not that good anyway. I mean, the Phillies. I mean, I get on that bandwagon. I don't watch it. I feel bad that I don't watch them during the year, but I can relate to that team. That's a pretty cool team. Bryce Harper was definitely a good pickup. He's super cool.
Last of this this segment: East Coast versus Gulf Coast oysters.
Gulf Coast oysters?
Yeah.
Oh, Gulf Coast oysters.
Yeah, Gulf Coast over East Coast.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh,
East Coast oysters are bougie. Gulf Coast oysters have a little diesel in them. It's a little extra
a little
flavor.
bit of that BP.
I honestly think, I don't. I mean, I'm not a huge like aficionado of oysters, but there's a lot more description of like, oh, you have to like this oyster because it's brainy and it's it's the size of a thimble. I'm like, what the fuck happened here? Where it's like you have the old school Gulf Coast oysters here, and then you have what's the one that's like kind of famous now down here that everybody's seen?
Murder Point?
Yeah, the Murder Point.
Yeah, those are great.
Oh my god,
those are really good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how like sophisticated those are, but I mean, you could just crush.
They're like farmed in Alabama, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how all the different like elements.
Yeah,
of briny and this and that, but
or
this
whatever.
minerally. I'm like, I
Yeah.
crushed 90 of those.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
All right, that was East Coast versus Gulf Coast, this or that. That went better than I thought, so thank y'all for participating. We're actually running out of time here. We've been going for longer than I thought that we would. I'll ask you a couple questions out of a hat, and then I think we'll call it.
Whatever you want to do.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see.
Yeah, Stein's got nowhere else to be.
Actually, I have to open the deli tomorrow because somebody got hurt, so I have to go to bed at a reasonable hour tonight.
What's the biggest animal you think you could take in hand-to-hand combat?
The biggest animal I could take in hand-to-hand combat?
Yeah.
I don't know. Next question.
Do you have an answer?
For Stein?
No, for yourself.
Oh, I'm not gonna go big on that one. Maybe a 60-pound dog. I don't know.
Okay.
I would probably lose. I mean, Animals are vicious.
First of all, what's the grocery store that you like to go to around here?
What's grocery store do I like to go to,
Yeah.
or which one do I go to?
Well, yeah, either one.
I mean,
For this
usually by
question, it's not
convenient, I
super-
go to Walmart. I don't really
Oh,
like
okay.
going there,
Yeah.
but
Fair
it's
enough.
like, but
Like
yeah,
Langenstein's.
yeah. I haven't been to Langenstein's in a long time.
I like Langenstein's. Well, here, the question is this. This is a hypothetical question, by the way.
Right.
If you were stoned in the grocery store, what would you grab?
So I
This guy does not smoke weed.
I
First
don't
of all,
have
you
I
have to
kinda-
know
I
something.
kind of picked that up. I feel like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been in many situations
and if I and
where
if
the
I'm
peer
getting
pressure was
stoned,
on.
and I'm getting stoned, I'm not going to.
You don't wanna go
grocery store.
anywhere.
No, I'm probably sitting on a couch
Yeah.
or doing some, or probably falling asleep.
I've seen
Yeah,
so many
the last
situations
thing-
where
yeah.
you specifically did not smoke weed.
Or drink weed now that you can drink it.
Yeah, I saw just something in there.
Yeah, well,
there's
that's-
some light THC. I don't
Well,
know
yeah,
what.
with those THC seltzers.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
actually they're trying to get it passed now that they make them illegal in the state of
Oh, really?
Louisiana. Yeah,
It's all like that Farm Bill weird, like
I think
Delta
it's
8
it's
stuff.
a function of the beer lobby probably. It's
Probably,
also
yeah.
a function of it's also a function of the beer lobby. It's also a function of the I guess probably the religious, more the right wing, being like we don't
yeah,
understand that sort of thing. We understand alcohol.
The
but we
devil's
don't
lettuce.
understand- Yeah.
Okay. What's the most disgusting food that's still good?
Most disgusting food that's still good. Well, you want to know what I eat like every night that's disgusting, that's still good?
Yeah.
2 slices of American cheese.
Every night?
Just walk over and just grab 2 slices of American cheese. Fucking
Seems
a
like
great
tuna melt would be the obvious
pound it.
example.
No, that's not good. I can't eat that, but I'll eat like American cheese. Yeah, I mean that's great.
I love that's a great answer. Is pickleball lame?
I've never done it, but no, it's not
You don't
lame.
think it's
No,
lame?
too many people like it. I can't say it's lame.
Harmless.
Too many nice
Yeah.
people like it.
Can't
Too
be
many
mad at pickleball.
too many people I know. Yeah,
Yeah, fair enough. What is your hangover cure?
ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen and sleep.
Straight up, yeah.
Water, ibuprofen, sleep.
When I used to work here, and I'd come in hungover, the best thing is get a plastic cup full of ice and fill it with half Gatorade. Or no, that was one. Just a full thing of Gatorade, or half orange juice, half ginger ale, but like the real, like the Reed's ginger ale.
Uh-huh.
But like a big 16-ounce cup full of ice.
You mean like a
sounds-
headache
yeah, very
hangover
head-
too, right?
Yeah, like you're just
Like
you're,
a
you're
headache-
disgusting.
like
It's
the
up here,
headache-
it's down here.
The headache hangover.
Yeah.
Because like when you get older, you can't relate. Like you might walk in here, like I've drank too much, and then I woke up in the middle of the night and I took like 2 ibuprofen. I woke up and it took 2, and I will walk in here, no headache, but
Yeah.
I mean I'll feel like ass.
Yeah,
And
right.
then depending on what type of alcohol you drank. Like
Sure,
if you drink like champagne or something, I'm like, man, I am fucking depressed. I just
Yeah, yeah.
don't want to be here. I just
Wine does that to me.
I just like, so these are like that. I mean, that hangover is like, I guess these are things when you get older and you go to therapy enough and you start to think about mindfulness and all that stuff. You actually can start to like sift through your hangovers and sift through the different pains and actually figure it out. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is how you know Dan Stein had a bad night. If you're here at the deli, like when it opens, like at 8, and he comes in and he still has his belt around his neck, like he didn't have time to put his belt on his shorts,
Yeah.
shit's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Like, oh, the belt didn't make it all the way on. It's gonna be a rough morning.
It's gonna be a rough morning. Actually, you know what's really funny? I'll tell you. This woman came up to me yesterday. I was here and I got like 4.5 hours of sleep because I
Okay.
was behind, and I got in here at 8:00, and I was just exhausted and tired, and and it just things weren't going right. And then
Yeah.
this woman came up and started placing her order, and the apps are going off, and
Yes.
the guy next to me is either talking or not where he's supposed to be. And I'm like trying, and it took me a little while to process the order. And they were a really sweet couple in front of me.
Yeah.
And I redid their order a couple times and made sure I got it right and stuff like that. And when I went over to pick out the drinks for like the Uber order, she's like, how you doing? I'm like, I'm all right. She's like, can I ask you what your mental state is right now? And I said, well, my normal opening guy wasn't here today, so we're a little bit not in the right situation. You know, I didn't get enough sleep last night, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. I would probably say that I'm on extended radical acceptance right now.
That's
And
the
she just
therapy
looked at me and
language right
smiled and
Yeah.
said, like, she's like, gets it. It's like, yeah, it's like I'm in pain, but I can accept the fact that I'm in pain and
Yeah.
trying not to let it impact me.
That's beautiful. All right, this
Buddhist
is
of you.
yeah. That
I
is
like
Buddhist.
Buddhism. Yeah, I like Buddhism.
I've been doing Zen meditation for more than a decade. It's great.
Really?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
sound like it, that voice.
Thanks. I started doing it in 2010. It's great. The Austin Zen
I've
Center.
never done Zen meditation.
I recommend it.
Really?
I mean, well, if you do mindfulness meditation, do you do mindfulness meditation? Because it's exactly the same thing, basically.
So I don't go out of my way to do mindfulness meditation,
Uh-huh.
but when I wake up in the morning
Yeah.
and I go to the shower and I start thinking,
Yeah.
I'll come up with some things, and when I realize, I'm like, wow, that's pretty
kinda
profound.
step
And I'll
back a
look
little
up and I'm
bit.
like, wait a minute, I'm in the shower.
Uh-huh.
It's like, it's got to be. This is profound. It's like
Yeah.
really strange. It's
A
like
lot of the
that-
best stuff happens.
It happens. I don't know if it happens
Yeah.
to everybody in the same place, but for me,
I get a lot of
when
good
I get
shower
up,
thoughts.
when I'm in the shower in the morning,
Yeah.
is when I will, when I'll reflect on something like almost out of the blue, and I'm like, wow. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait a minute, I'm in the shower. Wow. This is yeah.
That's mindfulness.
Yeah, that's yeah.
All right, this is the last question.
Okay.
This is for both of y'all. What do you think is necessary for romantic love?
God.
You're asking the wrong person.
That's exactly what I would say. For you.
Oh, are you an expert on romantic love?
Well, I've observed your
Yeah.
romantic life over
Yeah.
the years.
Yeah.
We've all observed part of it.
Yeah.
What was the question exactly?
What do you think is necessary for romantic love?
I think for Stein, it would be that his partner accept that the deli is his first love, and that if this romantic person were to be involved in Stein's life, that they would have to take a secondary role.
Table stakes.
Almost like a polygamous relationship, open relationship with the deli being the primary partner.
I mean, that for me, that question could like yield a series of podcasts in itself.
Uh-huh.
As far as that, I mean, it's just like a mutuality of affection and definitely, I think the key being mutuality.
Yeah.
Do you both have a profound interest in each other's welfare and care about each other? And, I can't say that, that I haven't in the past been the one at fault at, providing that. So I'm not going to sit here and do that. But yeah, I would say there has to be some sort of, you both got to like each other, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You both have to respect each other, and yeah.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
Well, Dan and Dan, thank you very much for being on the podcast. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. This has been a lot of fun. This
Times.
is Bon
Okay.
Ton Club with Dan Stein, Dan Fox at Dan Stein's Deli. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching or listening to this episode of Bon Ton Club. I hope you enjoyed it. You can expect more of these every other Sunday. If you did like it, please like this video and subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Bon Tom Club. That's BONTEMPS Club. Thank you.